What's up everybody? This is Max from Red Dawn Entertainment, and today is another Max Rant video. I'm going to talk about my Avengers Endgame theories. I've got 3 of them, and I'm going to warn you, this one may get a little lengthy. I try to keep all my videos under 20 minutes, and I really would like to keep it about 15 so it doesn't get too long and boring. I hope it's not boring. Right now, I'm going to start off with some spoiler warnings that I'm really going to go into a few other films. More specifically, at least for this first one, I'm really going to go into spoiler territory for Iron Man 3. I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you've seen it, but I'm still going to give it out because I don't want people to, get upset that I ruined some pretty big stuff in that movie, and I don't know, it feels a long time from... Okay, anyways. So my first theory, this is where I really warn you, I'm going to spoil Iron Man 3 a bit. So, if you haven't seen it, please go see it, or if you don't care, keep watching, whatever. So, based on the Endgame trailer, Iron Man, Tony Stark, is lost in space. Trapped on a spaceship, faced with, death. Their food's running out, air's running out. He only has a few days left. So, what is going to save him? And I know a lot of people have already gone straight to it, Captain Marvel's gonna save him. And yeah, that they probably would do that, but I just think it's kind of dumb, and I'm gonna explain why I think that doesn't really work all that well in a bit. But I would rather put my money on someone completely different, and we actually have seen a few leaks of this, a few images. I'll flash them up on the screen right now. So, how do we get from, where he is to his girlfriend rescuing him? I actually didn't know either, and I decided, okay, here's my anecdote. So I've been watching a marathon of the MCU films, just select movies. I decided, hey, I feel like watching Thor tonight. I haven't watched Avengers yet, so why not? So I'm kind of watching them slowly until I get to Captain Marvel and then Endgame. So that way, I kind of am refreshed on everything. And during that, I decided, hey, let's watch Iron Man 3. I don't like that movie. I didn't like that movie a lot. And so I really just didn't want to watch it again. And so now I'm doing this marathon. I said, you know what? I haven't seen it in a while. Let's watch it again. And to be honest, this time around I liked it a bit more. The main reason I didn't like it, and this is a spoiler warning, is because they did a fake out with the Mandarin. So the whole story is that, there's these terrorist videos coming up claiming responsibility for several bombings that have been happening all over America. And this guy comes up and, who says he's the Mandarin, takes responsibility for it, because he says he's a terrorist. So Iron Man goes in to investigate all this, and see what really is going on. And as it turns out, the Mandarin that we've been seeing thus far was just an actor. There is no Mandarin, it's another guy with this thing called Extremis, and I don't want to go into the plot so much. But there is no Mandarin in this film. It's a fake out. And I hated that. Because it was just so dumb. Like, why? Why do we need a fake out? Why couldn't he just have been there and been a different part of the story? Anyways. So during the beginning of the film, we get, this whole scene where Tony Stark basically threatens the Mandarin, gives him his home address, and the Mandarin actually comes and blows up his house. But before that, he figures out that there is some evidence that will help him find out who's really behind these bombings, and it's in Tennessee. So he tells Jarvis, make plans, we're going to go to Tennessee or something, investigate it. What happens, the Mandarin comes, blows up his place before he gets the chance. However, his suit rescues him, although it takes him to Tennessee. So he's stuck in Tennessee. How does he tell his girlfriend where he is, or anyone where he is? Well, he has a secret server thing that he calls through a payphone, and it goes and connects to his mask. And his girlfriend puts on his helmet that he has, like one of the helmets that are left over, and she hears, his message that he recorded on the phone booth.
So, first off, I'm so sorry I put you in harm's way. That was selfish and stupid, and it won't happen again.
Start secure server. Retinal scan verified.
Pepper, it's me. Got a lot of apologies to make and not a lot of time, so... First off, I'm so sorry I put you in harm's way. That was selfish and stupid, and it won't happen again.
And I thought about it after seeing that, and I immediately remembered the Endgame trailer and how it begins. And, of course, we all know, because I'm pretty sure we've all seen it, in the Endgame trailer, Tony Stark is trapped alone. He is giving a message to his helmet to record.
This thing on?
Hey, Miss Potts.
If you find this recording, don't feel bad about this. Part of the journey is the end. Just for the record, being adrift in space with zero promise of rescue is more fun than it sounds. Food and water ran out 4 days ago.
I think that secret server thing is going to make a comeback in this movie, and that message that he's recording actually gets somehow sent to his secret server or whatever, and all these other suits have it, have this message now on their system or whatever. So maybe, his girlfriend realizing that is a potential way to figure out where he might be, that if he had the opportunity, he would have left a message. Goes, puts on one of the helmets, and finds out, yeah, he did leave a message. He's trapped somewhere in space. Somehow using science fiction, gadgetry and stuff. Find out that he's, where he's floating. She puts on one of the suits. He has, maybe made a custom suit for her. And becomes rescue, as a lot of people are thinking. And somehow goes and saves him. That's my first theory. And this one, I don't know how to describe this. This one's more of a theory than the other two are. Especially the next one is not so much a theory. It's more just, hey, wouldn't this be a cool idea? There's some indication it could happen in some way, but I doubt it is what's gonna happen. But anyway, so this one it has evidence, it makes sense, it would fit in the movie, I feel, and it would definitely be a satisfactory way for him to get rescued from the starship floating out in the middle of space. So my next theory, this one's a little far-fetched, and I am really stretching this one. I'm really reaching on this one. So we know in Endgame, not Endgame. We know in Infinity War. Oh, spoiler warning here. Please go watch that one. I would definitely more recommend if you're really into the MCU. That is a required film to see. You kind of have to see Endgame. You kind of have to see Infinity War. Really. So in Infinity War, to get the Soul Stone, Thanos goes to some planet, and there he meets Red Skull. So, we all know what transpires after that, and if you don't, I don't want to ruin that, because that's a pretty big moment in the film, and it's more recent than Iron Man 3, so watch Infinity War, or you know what I'm talking about. And anyways, also in Infinity War, Thanos has his Black Order, and they all fight the Avengers, and they all end up dying by the end of the movie. So Thanos is kind of on his own. He doesn't have a group of people to defend him in case the Avengers came after him, or I don't think he would want to, if he's farming and stuff, he probably doesn't want to go out and, fight the Avengers himself. So my theory here is that, remembering back to meeting one of the big villains of the MCU, not big, but Captain America's archenemy, Red Skull, Thanos starts to put together a plan. Goes back to Red Skull somehow using, if the Infinity Gems still work, using those to go back to Red Skull and find wherever he is, because supposedly he has been released the service of guarding the Soul Stone, and that now he is out and about in the universe, kind of free to do whatever. I don't know how that's going to work out, but anyway, so my theory is that Thanos is going to go find him. He's going to convince him to join up with him on his, like, the new team that he's making to go fight keep the Avengers from changing his plan, you know, fixing the snap. And so he doesn't just get Red Skull. He could use the stones to go back to Earth and find the other big villains of the MCU. Or even maybe time travel and pull them out of time. And assembles a team of all the villains, or at least a good amount of villains who have fought the Avengers in the past, and has them, you know, defend him, like his new Black Order. Essentially, my theory here is that Thanos will assemble the Masters of Evil in some form to fight the Avengers. That's the stretchy part of it. That there's no evidence that why would he do that. And I know he works with groups, and his last group got killed off, but it also just makes sense that the Avengers would be fighting their own bad guys, people that they've barely won against in the past, as somewhat of a rite of passage kind of deal. Also, a way this could go down, and I've just kind of thought about that, is that maybe the Masters of Evil aren't going to be a big organized group, but rather maybe Thanos influences them somehow in the past. He goes back in time and is able to kind of turn them all against the Avengers. And if the Avengers do time travel, which it looks to be that they're doing, that they're going to go into the past, and during like these excursions, maybe the different places they go to in the timeline, like New York, and maybe they go back to some time in Age of Ultron and they start fighting some of their bigger villain that they fought from the past. I think that would be kind of cool, though, still, for some form of the Masters of Evil to appear. So that's my stretchy theory. That one I would say is more of my, hey, wouldn't that be cool kind of idea, more so than a theory. But hey, there's the smallest chance that that's probably what's going to happen. So, you know, my third theory, and this one is more of a theory than my Masters of Evil one, and is less of a theory than my Iron Man Secret Server one. Essentially, this one is, I think, how the movie is going to end, in a way. So, there's been a lot of talk, I know, that Captain Marvel is going to be the one to come in and save the day and single-handedly defeat Thanos. I don't think so, and I think I said this at some point, that I don't think she's going to save Iron Man, because it would be sheer coincidence that she finds him trapped in space, you know, lost in space or whatever. So she'd have to just like fly by and see him, and the chances of that happening are unrealistic. There's a lot of evidence towards that, and I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I just don't think that's going to happen. But also, part of the big reason I don't think it's going to happen is she wasn't called to Iron Man. She was called to Earth by Nick Fury. And if they have, because I know they're going to have some kind of relationship in Captain Marvel, that it would be a pretty big enough cry for help that she would go straight to Earth without wavering whatever. So I'm not saying that's not going to happen, just I don't think it's going to happen, that she's going to save him. So there's that out of the way. I also don't think, from what people are saying, that she's going to be the one to, you know, single-handedly take on Thanos and beat him, and the rest of Avengers are just gonna watch on and clap. I really feel that defeats the purpose of Endgame, and the way that things were left off in Infinity War. Things were left off in Infinity War with the remaining Avengers that had survived were the founding members of the Avengers. And so it makes sense that the reason they were kind of unable to beat Thanos, and this is something I think the producer, directors have been talking about, is the reason they weren't able to beat Thanos in the last movie was because they were all split up. They were in like 50 different places in that film. So Endgame is going to have a final battle between Thanos and the Avengers, almost assuredly. That's not even a theory. There's a Lego set that confirms that that's going to happen. It just makes sense too, that they're all going to get together and it's going to be just the Avengers versus Thanos at some point, and that's probably going to, most obviously, just going to be the last big battle at the end of the movie. So I don't think Captain Marvel is single-handedly going to take him on. What I think could be the compromise for this is the person to deliver the final blow to Thanos is got to be someone with enough power or some kind of plan. And I'd really vouch for Captain America being the one to deliver the final blow to Thanos. Whether that kills him, defeats him, or whatever, probably going to kill him. Captain America is going to be the one to sacrifice his life in order to deliver the final blow that defeats Thanos, not Captain Marvel. And the reason I think that is that Captain America is set up to die. The evidence for this is that, well, you know, he's been there. It's a great way to close out his story arc so far. That a lot of what it is, you know, I mean, the first movie we see him in, he goes, essentially sacrifices himself to save, not necessarily the world, but, you know, a lot of places. Essentially the world. And we see him sacrifice himself in order to stop the bombs from being dropped. And obviously he survives from that, but I don't think it's going to happen again this time. I think what's going to happen is that, you know, Thanos is too strong for the Avengers to, you know, just keep fighting him. They'll just keep fighting him until they either one side gets weak or the other. They need to finish the battle quick. So obviously, you know, there's going to be some plan put in place, and they need someone to go and deliver this final blow to defeat Thanos. I'm betting if this is what's going to happen, Iron Man is going to be the first one to raise his. As he's going to do that, Captain America interferes, saves him from doing it, and ends up going through with the plan by himself and sacrifices himself to kill Thanos. Why? I mean, there's two reasons why. A, closes out his character arc, and B, I feel that would also create the space for Captain Marvel to become the new captain of the Avengers, or however you want to describe that. And why it just, to me, makes sense. And like I said, this is not what I am saying. I don't think this is 100% gonna happen, but it could happen. There is a chance of it. I mean, there's a better chance of this happening than the Masters of Evil coming up in the movie. So I think it would be pretty cool to see that. I mean, nobody wants any of their heroes to die, but I think it makes sense for Captain America to be the one to go. And even in the Endgame trailer, there is indication that Captain America is going to go through with some sort of plan. And, you know, as he's saying that, he looks at the compass, and I've heard that the symbolism behind the compass is, you know, it is connected to Captain America. He looks at it every time he's about to sacrifice himself, or prepare to sacrifice himself for the greater good. And so I think that's just a big hint that Captain America is going to be the big death in the film. That he's going to be the one to sacrifice himself to save the world, the universe in a sense, or at least half of it. So those are my theories. I really thank you for listening and bearing with me through all this. I know Endgame is going to be this big event, and I'm not sure what to think of it. I'm going to see it, and I want to like it, and it looks good. Time travel is going to turn me off a bit for it, and that might be my next video. I want to talk about something that isn't always Marvel related. It will be, but I'm going to talk about some other movies, and that in my next video I'm going to talk about time travel and my thoughts on how it's done in movies and kind of the reasons I'm disappointed with it. And I'm going to go more into depth why I feel having time travel in Endgame just could be a problem. But anyways, thank you for listening. If you have any theories of your own, I'd love to hear them. Or if you want to adapt mine, if you think maybe I'm right on some parts and other places I'm like totally wrong, you know, with my theories, please feel free to express what you think in the comments. I'd really love to hear what you say, even if you're going to trash talk my entire video. I don't care. I can take criticism. I'd also really like to hear, you know, your counterpoints to it. And in the end, I think just the more expression of like theories and talking about this movie could help bring an understanding to all of us what could be happening in the film. So once again, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to try to keep making these videos better and better. So I'm sorry for right now if they're not so great. These are kind of my experimental Wild West videos, as you can probably like call them. So thank you for bearing with me. I really hope you like this. See you guys next time.